Alright my dear viewers, welcome to another tier list video here on our channel. After the overwhelmingly positive response to the SpellForce 1 tier list we did not too long ago, I've decided, as per request, to make a SpellForce 2 tier list as well. Now we're going to be ranking all the units in SpellForce 2, meaning all the base ones, plus the Shaikan from Dragonstorm, so everything's coming on this list here, and including the Titans. And before we start, there is two extra elements I want to talk about. Number one, I think units in SpellForce 2 are more difficult to rank than in SpellForce 1, mainly because I just think the whole unit dynamic in SpellForce 2 is more complex. Firstly, unit counters are a real thing, so certain units will do more damage against other units, less damage against another, right? So this will be based purely off of strength, but it'll be my experience throughout the campaign, right? Which units do I tend to build when I play these campaigns? Which units are kind of good or strong in my opinion, and which are just kind of you shouldn't really make them. For this, we have 5 tiers. Same as last time, Aeonia-like is going to be top one for Godlike, but we all know who the god is here. All the way to McWinter down there, and a couple of in-between ones. I feel like they're pretty self-explanatory. So let's start. So, actually, I'm gonna start by directly saying that every single Titan, where are they? Every single Titan goes into Godlike tier. Now, where's the Orc Titan? I saw you, there we go. Alright, so every single Titan goes into Godlike, Aeonia-like tier. Why? Because Titans in SpellForce 2 are worth about half an army. They're very expensive, they take up 5 unit slots, but holy crap are they worth it. You have to keep in mind that even though they take up a lot of, unit slots for this, resources in SpellForce 2 don't respawn. Not for you, right? So you've got the resources on the map, once those have been used up, you're gone, right? Nothing else left there. So, with all of that in mind, the Titans, insane value, always make them, no exceptions. You can make a Titan, it's literally better than having 30 other units put together. Literally, that's not even an exaggeration. Titans in SpellForce 2 are OP, you should make them. In terms of how strong they are, honestly, I'm not even entirely sure. I feel like they're about the same, though I'll rank them like this, sort of. I don't know, I feel like this fits pretty well, though they are about the same, more or less. I think I like the human Titan the most, the Realm Titan, because he's good against flying units, but they're all good against everything. They've got you can hit multiple people with one auto attack with these Titans. They've got AoE spells, they're tanky, everything, full package. Titans, OP. And also, something you'll notice is SpellForce 2 has a lot fewer useless units compared to SpellForce 1. There are some that I'll kind of put a little bit lower on the list as a whole, but in general, Titans already all top tier. No exceptions there. Okay, now Crystal Drakes. Honestly, man, Crystal Drakes probably also have to go into Aeonia-like, because Crystal Drakes are just, you can spam them. And for anyone who's played this game with Crystal Drakes and Dragonstorm, you know how, what they can do. So they definitely have to go into they're obviously not as strong as a Titan, right? But they do have to go in to this tier. Maybe, honestly, maybe I'll leave this tier for the Titans, the top tier, just so we have this kind of difference between them and the other units here, but I will put them definitely at the top of must make when you play. Now, with Orc Archers, I'll say Orc Archers are kind of crappy. They're not useless. Well, actually, I'd say they're kind of crappy, yeah. I wouldn't put them in McWinter. I do have a couple of units I would put below them. But just with how much I use them and how much you actually need to use them, I just don't feel like they're that good. There's not even that many maps where you have to use them, right? So, definitely a bit on the weaker side of things. By the way, I'm very sorry about the low imagery or low quality of these images here. That's the only tier list I managed to find. I had to add the Shaikans. Thank you to whoever made the tier list, by the way. I'll link it below, as always, but, you know, the image quality is not the best. But we'll you know, try nonetheless. And same as in the first video, I will, well, probably make some naming mistakes, because I genuinely don't know all the names of all the, you know, units and all of that, so we'll try our best. Now, Axemen. Axemen, I must put them in must make. Axemen, for me, in SpellForce 2, are what defenders with the upgrade are in SpellForce 1. They're easy to make, they're not too expensive, they cost 1 unit slot, whereas they might even be better than these dragons, because one of these dragons costs 4 unit slots, right? And they're more expensive, way more expensive. One of these is only 1, so I'll put them here, Definitely very, very good. Yeah, I'm happy with this. We'll see if we, you know, push them around a little bit, but for now they're gonna be here. Alright. Now, these fellas here, what's their names, like barbarians or something? Barbarians are also very good. I would put them a little bit below, but they are insanely strong against any type of like magic users, especially. They've got a special ability that like reflects the magic from them, but I'll put them in solid, because I do want to, you know, keep it a little bit, keep it a buck here. Keep it a buck here and make a good distinction between them. So they'll be in solid for me. Now, Shaikan units. Honestly, it's hard to say what to do with the Shaikan, because, I mean, all the Shaikan units are strong, right? There's not really any singular Shaikan unit where I would say, oh my god, this guy is like complete garbage, never use him. Like, they're all pretty damn good. That being said, this guy probably goes into must make. Probably. I'll put him below these two, but just the fact that you can upgrade him and give him 2 arrows or fire arrows. One thing that pushes them down a little bit is the tendency for Shaikan units to, well, they don't have units that take only 1 slot. All the Shaikan units are super expensive, right? So, you know, that's going to push him a little bit down because you can't make as many, but he's still very, very good. Should definitely make. Now, what else do we have? What else do we have? The blade. That's the blade. What's his name? The destroyer, the big one. The destroyer is very good. I would put the destroyer in must make as well once you have them, because the sheer amount this guy can tank, it's just incredible. This guy will tank for days, and he does a lot of damage. They're kind of slow. They take up a little bit of, you know, resources and population slots. Takes up 4 as well, but they're still super, super damn good. So I'll keep them for now. I'll keep them. All right. So these are gonna be here. Yeah, looks fine for now. Now trolls. I'd say the regular one, the clubbing ones, I'll put into solid. Will I put them into solid though? I know, I feel like no, they might be crappy even. They're better than the archers. Again, I know someone's gonna comment this. No, I don't feel like there's many units who are actually horrible in SpellForce 2. You can use all of them, and at most points you do use all of them. But I feel like compared to some other things, I've never really used this guy too much. So, I'll just put him here. The catapult, on the other hand, is very good. I'll put the catapult into solid, and while I'm doing this, are there other catapults there? They are. I'm gonna put both catapults here while I'm at it, because they're both about the same. Are they about the same? I feel like they're about the same, right? I'm gonna put them both into solid. They're good. They're kind of slow, you know. They're kind of slow. That's the big issue they've got. But I can, you know, I can definitely see them being used pretty well. And now the hurler. I'll put him into solid too. He's better than the clubbing guy here, but I still wouldn't put him on the same level as these ones above here, so definitely gonna be here. Now the next one, my goodness, okay. So the next guy here, right? Shai Khan. What's his name? No, Standard Bearer? No, that's the other one. Vanguard, right? Vanguards take up 4 slots. They're kind of expensive, but not too expensive. I still don't think they're worth it, though. I still don't think they are very, very worth it. You can upgrade them. And they can debuff enemies, but I've never used them too much. I've never used them all that much. I don't know. Let's say we put this guy into solid, bottom of solid tier. I think that'll be fine. And I see here we've got a first McWinter contender, the Treant. Now, let me just say this: there is exactly one map in this entire game in SpellForce 2, both of them, where you actually use Treant. It's when you return to the Iron Fields to uncover the shadows. After this, you never ever see them. Their only thing is as a counter to shadows, which in skirmish can be useful if you're playing against Dark Elves in skirmish against the Pact. But in the campaign, for how often you should make them, when you're playing with, you know, the Realm, just don't make them. And honestly, I don't even think, you know, making them in skirmish is that good. You make 1 or 2 maybe, and, you know, like, yeah, they defend some entry points, but the shadows aren't that big of a deal to, like, anyhow, right? I never found them to be too strong, too scary, so I'll put these here for now. I'll put them here. Now the mercs, the orc mercs, they're also kind of a funny thing, right? Honestly, they're also kind of crappy. Again, usable, definitely, not useless by any means, but kind of crappy. They don't cost a lot, but I always felt like they die in like 2 hits. They don't even have any like real redeeming qualities apart from being the base unit, but you grow out of the phase where you make them pretty quickly. So I'll put them here. The shamans, I will put in solid, but I'll put them here. Now the shamans are kind of what the Treant wishes they could be, because the shamans can also see shadows, using their magic and all of that, right? But they're just way better, right? They cost less, they take up fewer unit slots, 1 less than the Treant. They actually do damage, and they're a lot quicker. So, you know, weighing the pros and cons, just a lot better. So we'll put them here, Now, I'm kind of indecisive with these ones. These are the shamans, right? The shamans of the orcs, of the clan. Honestly, I feel like the shamans are pretty good. I'll put them in solid. They can freeze, they can perma-freeze, which can be super duper nice. They're just a little bit expensive for what they're worth, I feel like. But they're good nonetheless. And that's why we're going to put them here. Gonna be happy with this. Now, this bad boy here, this kid. This bad boy here, I'll put him even under Treant. Totem is the name. These guys are only good for one thing, which is killing other flying units, which is all well and good, but you only use it like once in the campaign, in the Tuscari Desert. And then never again, you never see them. You never use them, you never build them. It's insane how bad these guys are. Actually, I don't even use them in the Tuscari Desert, apart from the mandatory part for the main quest. But after that, I just don't use them, because you don't need them. There's like, you know, they can do one thing, which is great, you know, for what it is, but who cares, right? So I'm gonna put them here. Blade Masters. Blade Masters I'll also put here. I'll put them a little bit below the blade. I don't think they're as useful as the archers. But you know, the marksman, yeah, let's put them like this. You can upgrade them to either do more damage, to have like a dual wield kind of thing going, or they can have a sword and shield. Both of them are pretty good, depending on, you know, if you want more damage or more defense, but I think they're pretty solid. Pretty good. I usually make them whenever, like, they never really fall out of fashion when you play the Shaikan. Now, Orc Veteran. Orc Veteran. Solid. I mean, it's my go-to melee unit of the Orcs. But it's not a must-make, though. I don't think it's a must-make. I don't think it's a must-make. So I'll put them here. Maybe a little bit above the Shaman, just because of how useful they are. And they're kind of tanky. They're also good against Riders. That's one of the redeeming qualities they've got. They're very, very good against Riders. They do extra damage to them, so I'm gonna put them here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Same with the regular blades. I don't think they're that good. I'll put them maybe around here. They're not bad, you know. They're not bad, but there's better stuff out there. There's better stuff for sure. So we're gonna put him here. Ah, the shadows. Oh my god, okay. Ooh. Ooh, this might ruffle some feathers, but I think the shadow, the regular one's kind of crappy. You don't really need to make it. I feel like if you make it for anything, they're kind of shit for attacking. They're better suited for defense, in my opinion. You know, you put them on defense, they kill a couple of guys when you go in there. I mean, they've got their use cases, you know, you use them a couple of times, but I still think they're kind of crappy. Overall, not the biggest fan. While we're at it, these guys here, those are solid though. The guys that destroy buildings, I'll put them here. I don't use them, yeah, like this. I don't use them too often, but those you can actually make the argument, you know, you can send them to the enemy, destroy a building. And that actually does something, you know, for towers and stuff. Now, in SpellForce 2, this will be way more powerful in SpellForce 1. In SpellForce 2, enemies can rebuild buildings, so it kind of loses a little bit of the value there, but I still think they are pretty good overall, right? So, we're gonna leave them here in solid. I think they're gonna be good. Arachnis, Spider Queen here. Honestly, also, kinda crappy. I'll put them at the top of crappy tier. Not the biggest fan. Never really, I mean, I do make them, maybe like one or two, but I just feel like there's better options. The Necromancer here, for example. The Necromancer is a solid unit. I'll just skip a little bit ahead to her. The Necromancer, I feel like, is a very solid unit because she doesn't cost much and she can make skeletons, which are way more useful than the spiders and that this girl here makes, right? So, you know, a little bit of a difference here, but we're gonna put it like this for now. I think we're gonna have to, let me see. Death Knights. Death Knights are also very solid. Death Knights, I would say... They're not too bad. I'll put them here. They're not too bad. They're not as good as she is, but they're decent. I give it to them. Now the Banner Carrier. Or what's his name? Standard Carrier? Banner Carrier? Something like that? Honestly... kind of crappy. I'll put him like this. Kind of crappy. It's not useless. He does give super nice buffs to your units, but for 4... like, he needs 4... I don't know. I would say he's here. I would definitely say he's here. He might be a little bit underrated, but just from my personal experience, he's gonna get slotted in here. For me, at least. You know, you may disagree. If you do, let me know in the comments, but this is my list. You can make your own for that. All right. Now, I just saw this guy. He popped in my head. He's going to be crappy too. He's a little bit better than the totems, but he's crappy overall. This is kind of like a totem, but a shadow version of it. Just invisible and one-shots like flying units, which is good. You know, it's not bad, but it's also not that useful. So we're going to put him here for now. Okay, now let's continue. Fire Dragon. Fire Dragon. It's very solid. The dragons are all very solid. but not as solid as the Crystal Dragon, and I wouldn't say it's a must-make. He's good, he's not that good. He's also pretty expensive, right? We, once again, have a 4-cost unit here. Just takes up a lot, right? So, for being a little bit worse, slightly worse, I mean, I don't know. They do have the redeeming quality that they can attack buildings, right? With the fire thing. No, still, I'll put them there. I'll put them here. Next up, the fire one, I think is pretty good. I'll put him here. Now, this might be a little bit controversial. Might ruffle some feathers again with this one. I'll put him at the bottom of must make, just because I like making them. And the ice one I'll put at the bottom of solid, because I feel like it's infinitely worse. Now, usually you would think ice would be really, really cool. Really, really cool for something like this. But, you know, just from my personal experience, I like this one a little bit less than the fire one. So we'll put them here. Maybe not at the bottom, but maybe like above the catapults here, something like that. Should be okay. Now, these dragons are also put in solid. These are just the standard, like, dragon fighting units. They're not bad. Pretty solid. I wouldn't say they're as good as the blades, but I'll put them here. I do prefer the blades for this one. And what do we have next? We've got the packed units. The regular unit is solid. The regular one is solid. I'll put him here. You notice we've got a lot of like very solid units because most of them are in this game, right? So we're gonna put him here. Where do I put him though? I'll put him above this guy actually, because I do feel like this one's a little bit more worth it. And I feel like they go kind of hand in hand, not gonna lie. They kind of go hand in hand. I'm gonna put them both together. Gonna put them both together. The sorceress, not weak, but you know, could be better, could be better. This guy over here, I'll put him in kind of crappy, and my reasoning for this is, I'll put him here. My reasoning for him being in kind of crappy is because the gimmick this unit has is to destroy buildings, to attack and destroy buildings, which is good. But like when you play with the Pact, right? You already have these shadows here, which just do the same thing, but like a lot better. They can't tank as much, to be fair, but why would they have to if you can just destroy the building, right? Destroy any towers, destroy, like, you know, these are for towers, tower sieging units. It's kind of like the catapult of the other races, just worse. So this one just kind of makes up for it, I'll be honest with you. So this one's a lot better, I think. Regular crossbowmen. Regular crossbowmen. I'd say they're alright. I'll say they're alright. I'll put them around the same level as these units here. I think they're a little bit better than sorceresses, but, you know, same kind of level. Defenders are pretty good, though, because they get to taunt. I feel like both defenders and elites can go in must-have, must-make. Which one I'd put first? Perhaps elites. I feel like elites have a spell, which just kind of makes their damage output a lot better here. But it's a close kind of like thing between those two, right? Pretty close, pretty close. So, yeah, no, we're gonna put them like this, both of them. Healers are definitely good. I feel like they can be, they're a must-make. Are they a must-make? They might be a solid, actually. Yeah, they're a solid, but they're super high up on the solid list. I feel like having healers in SpellForce 2 is just, it's very strong, because the healing is pretty good, it's pretty consistent, and it's very fast. Compared to SpellForce 1, it's a lot faster, right? So they just dash out the healing, which I like. The mages, I will put into must-make. Definitely. They're expensive, which kind of makes me bump them a little bit below these two here. But I will say, actually, maybe like this even. I will say they are really, really good at target focusing someone, right? So if you have one unit you really want to get rid of, get a few of these, just, they all hit him with the spell, he's gone. Nothing he can do. Now, these guys. Not that good, not that good. McWinter. Definitely McWinter. It's just a worse version of the crossbowmen here. Just straight up. They're quicker, maybe a little bit tankier, but they take up 2 slots and I just don't feel like it makes up for it. So it's one of those units I never really make, even though they might be not too bad, but I just don't like having them very often. So we're gonna put them here. Wait a second. I made a mistake here, I just noticed. That's not the regular one, this is the regular one. You are gonna go a bit lower on my list. I'm not the biggest fan of these guys, so I'll put them around here. Oh, good thing we called that one. Okay, but we're gonna put those here. Now, paladins, are we... paladins are also gonna go into here. I'd say paladins are around this level, you know, about here. Pretty solid, not too bad. They have a spell that revives dead units for a time. It turns them into ghosts, you know, which can be like it can be useful. You can use them to tank, kind of like a meat shield. So they're pretty good. They are pretty good. Anything else here that I will change before we put the last 3 in? No. These go into must-have. The realm is pretty strong, as you can see. Many units in must-have that they've got, but I do think it's deserved. I do think it's deserved. Actually, I'll put her a little bit higher, actually, here. Right, I do think it's deserved. Whether I'd put them above these, I don't know, but they definitely need to go into it. Must make. Soldiers are solid. That's a Metal Gear Solid reference. I could make that into a Metal Gear Solid reference, couldn't I? No, but soldiers are very, very solid, so we're gonna put them... I'd say, honestly, I'd put them... You know what? I'll give them a little bit. I'll put them here. I like the soldier. I like their design. I'm a big fan of them. So we're gonna put them there. And now the Blood Mage. It's a healer, right? So that's already good, but I don't use them that often, and it's kind of expensive. I don't... So the thing is, right? You can upgrade them and they become really good. You can actually, like, revive your units even if they die. Shaikan units, at least. Which makes sense, right? But... You know what? We're gonna... They're pretty strong. I'll give it to them. Just for that, we're gonna put them here. Maybe even... must make... Maybe even into must make, honestly. With the upgrades, I just reminded myself of the upgrades. The upgrades are pretty good. I might even put them a little bit higher here. Like this. But okay, that's gonna be my list. I mean, looking at it, I'm pretty happy. Obviously, for me, it's very difficult to actually know what to put where on a SpellForce 2 tier list because so many of these are so, like, neck and neck. It's really hard to put them properly, right? To assort them to a proper ranking here, but I feel like in terms of where I would put them, like, general strength wise, I'm pretty happy. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with this list? If you do, let me know, of course. If you don't, let me know why. Why don't you agree? What would you change? All of that in the comments. But with that, thank you for watching this video too. I hope you like it, and I'll see you very soon with the next one. Bye.